I'm Anna with Always Right, and in today's Preptober writing vlog, we're gonna be outlining my Nano project. And I'm going to be using Outlining Your Novel by K.M. Weiland here to outline it. So yeah, it's basically gonna be like a craft book review, craft book vlog, as well as like an outlining Preptober vlog. So it's gonna be a busy video. Fun fact about this book, it comes with a workbook. So this one costs about 10 bucks on Barnes & Noble and Amazon, about like 8 bucks on Thrift Books, and then this one costs 9 bucks across the internet, period. So yeah, I'm really excited. This little workbook's about 130 pages. This one's about 170. So literally I've just read chapter 1. And chapter 1 is just like trying to convince you to outline, but it's like, I bought your book. I obviously want to outline. So let's start outlining. And a lot of the stuff in chapter 1 is stuff that we've heard before from all of the other outlining books. Weiland didn't use that time period, those 33 pages, to kind of explain really much about herself other than, hey, I published this book. Yeah, hey, I did this book called Behold the Dawn, which is on the back here, and I outlined, and it actually turned out to be like one of my best books, and I'm so proud. And then I did another book that wasn't so great, but I didn't outline it, so then I went back and I outlined it, and it did great, and I'm just like, thank you. Let's move on. And it just feels like I got cheated out of that many pages out of the 170 that I have, the scant 170. I understand that every craft book is going to assume that this is the first time you've picked up a craft book on this craft topic. Oh, and one really interesting thing about this is that she actually does like interviews with other authors. Like this is an interview with Larry Brooks. So I do like that aspect. So it's not just like, oh, I have published a book. I write books. So I am the authority on outlining and writing. You know, it's like, hey, here's some point of views from other people. Holy cow, that made me like really lightheaded. Anyway, let's get back to it. It's time. First sticky deployed. Go, go, go. Yay! It's not in the first 50 pages, but it is page 53. First sticky noted, you can see right there. Okay, and the little sticky is highlighting the pre-outline questions. I really like these questions. It's like, what are 4 or 5 big moments that will occur in the plot? Can you think of at least 2 complications for each of these moments? Will these complications push your characters in ways that make them uncomfortable? In the last 2 chapters, Weiland has basically answered how to come up with story ideas and how to actually kind of have a premise for a book. And that is something that I know a lot of people struggle with, especially younger writers that are like newer into writing, aren't used to like thinking like totally creatively. And she answers it really well, I feel. Officially halfway point of this book. I only have 1 sticky still. Everything else has been kind of things that I've read before and either Save the Cat or the Take Your Pants Off. We had, I think, 5 author interviews at this point. It's been really interesting to read the author interviews in this and see like what their opinions and what their hot takes are on like pantsing books. Seems to be that the consensus is with these authors that Weiland has interviewed is that pantsing just produce like crap books for them. Don't get me wrong, like the last guy that was interviewed is John Robinson, and he talks about how his outlines are basically like 2 or 3 pages on a yellow legal pad, so it's not like he's like outlining for days. It's like, he's like, hey, this is kind of where I'm going with my story. Let's go with it. Kind of like how I did with Feathers. And so it's fascinating. It really is fascinating to see the author interviews and to see what their opinions are. I've definitely had some like epiphanies while reading this with like my Nano project in mind. That's usually what happens when I read like an outlining book or a craft book while having one of my projects in mind. Yeah, I'm still enjoying it. I know I haven't really documented a lot on the process, but it's like her outlining process is all right here. She's just kind of explaining things as of now. And the thing is this has like a really well broken down table of contents. So if I'm like, dang, what did she say about listing your scenes, I can go back to the exact page. It's a good read so far. It's a really good read so far. I'm gonna go cook some lunch, some dinner, like meal prep kind of stuff, whatever you wanna call it. And I'll be back probably in about 2-3 hours to continue working on this. Hope you enjoyed the food. Let's get back to outlining your novel. We're starting with chapter 6, which is Character Sketches Part 1, Exploring Backstory. Fun fact, I don't usually do any like character sketches in any of my outlines. It's always been like a question mark for me is, how much should I actually know about my character? But let's read. It is second sticky time. Okay, we are officially on our second sticky at the 116 page mark. Ta-da! We have 2. The second one is actually on her character interview sheet. It's really interesting. This far in the book, we have that little left, and we haven't touched really plotting at all. 3-4 hours of reading, and we're still not to like actually structuring your book, which I guess is okay. It's not like a bad thing, but I was honestly expecting a little more emphasis on outlining. This feels like writing a novel. This feels like writing a novel 101 more than outlining your novel. Fun fact about Weiland, she actually has quite a few other books on like Amazon and stuff where she covers storytelling. And she mentioned earlier, and I forgot to mention this earlier, that she has used this outlining method for 5 of her books as of publishing this in 2011. And she cites both movies and books. And the weird thing about like the books she's citing is they're not consistent. She cited 3 different Daphne du Maurier books. None of them have been Rebecca. Yeah, I mean, she's citing like not popular books, and it's really, really interesting. I just wanted to throw that out there while I'm thinking about it and while I'm, reading it. So I'm gonna get back into it and we'll find out if I do get one more sticky tab used. Okay, 2 things real quick. 1, right after I said she doesn't use any like recent novels, she mentions a Brandon Sanderson book, specifically the first one in the Mistborn series, and I was just like, that's my bad. Number 2, she formatted this for an ebook in theory. I haven't seen the ebook, but it reads like she formatted it for an ebook. And then she just went, yeah, keep every change that I made for the ebook to work, because, let me show you. She split up the word forcing right here, forcing, and she has that multiple places throughout this novel. So that's kind of a yikes in the yard, dog. I mean, it is like a $9 book. Don't get me wrong. But that is so annoying. That is just like randomly like forcing. And then there's been a few times where there's just an asterisk where there's just, it's just a little irritating for someone that prefers like the physical books. I imagine in the ebook, it looks totally fine. But in the physical book, it's annoying. Okay, I'm gonna get back to it. I'm on chapter 9. We're finally into like the outlining portion of outlining your novel. And she's like, hey, this is how I outlined, but wait a minute, let's take a hot second to evaluate who your audience is and what POV you should be using and how many. And I'm just like, ma'am. Yeah, hi, it's been a page. See right here, I made it this far. I went from here to here. And this is structuring your story. Let me read this to you because it made me a little angry. It's beyond the scope of this book to discuss story structure in detail. See my book, Structure Your Novel, for that. But let's take a look at a quick checklist of the structural possibilities of the beginning, middle, and the end of your book. What? Why? It's not too thick that you couldn't have put it in there. Structuring your novel, which is more expensive. It's 13 bucks. So, I'm trying to be calm. I'm trying. The Structuring Your Novel book is 295 pages. It was published 2 years after this one. Oh, it does me an anger. No tea, no shade. This should have had the structuring in it. Like, I'm gonna read and see what all she can convey in these like 2-3 pages. It's not even 3 pages. Fun. Let me see how she wants me to structure the novel. What? So what is the point of this if it doesn't teach you how to actually outline? Like Save the Cat, I understand it's like 16 bucks, but it's like, this is like 19 plus tax. And then you have to buy another one for structuring your book and probably another one for structuring your book workbook. So I'm gonna read the 2 pages that talk about like how to outline my book in my Outlining Your Novel craft book. I read it. It is the most useless tidbits. Begin with the main character. Show their normal world. Middle is enticing. Trap the main character in a spiral of events outside of their control. Force the main character's original goal out of their reach. Give the main character new goals. Cause the main character to make a decision. That's the middle. That's like 50-60% of the book. That is underwhelming. Like this was seriously a 5-star book for me. I was like, dang, this is like hitting every beat. This is amazing. This is gonna make me have like the best outlining. And then for the actual outlining portion, that's the gobbledygook that I get. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, don't you worry. So I'm gonna finish the 30 pages I have left in this. I think 30 is giving it like a lot. It's probably closer to 50. It's closer to 15. Okay. I'll be back when I'm done. I'm still mad at the book, but it is time for the 3rd sticky. So yes, it does miss some things that I really wish it had in it, aka like how the actual hell to outline your novel. But the section that I just added a sticky for is kind of questions and guides to have your chapters end on really strong notes. For example, promise of conflict is a great way to end a chapter. An example is the hero has just been challenged to a duel. The inherent question the reader has is, will he survive? I think that's great. Less than 10 pages left, so. I'm so salty that it's called Outlining Your Novel, and then it doesn't tell you how to actually outline your novel. So how's your day going? I officially read, and I only had 3 takeaways. So I can definitively say that if I was a new writer and I bought this novel, I would be confused because it doesn't actually go into how to structure and outline your novel. It goes over how to like waste a few months writing. And I say that as someone that likes to outline their books. I love to outline my books, but this process that she's talking about, and she mentions it like 3 or 4 times in this book, is supposed to take months. Months. As a writer, I don't believe that your outline should take months, personally speaking. Am I disappointed in this? Yes. Just given the notes that she had on like how to write your beginning, your middle, and your end, you would not have a good outline. I just looked at the time, it's not even 8 p.m. I finished this so much faster than I thought I would. I guess I'm going to work on this a little. I'm actually going to go get like a notepad. Okay. I have a notepad. I have office supplies all throughout my house. It's kind of a problem. So I am going to outline according to this book in my little like 5-star whatever notepad here. So, oh, it was almost satisfying, I'm sorry. Let's get into the workbook. This is step-by-step exercises for planning your best book. Yes, queen, let's do it. So, introduction, already read it, not doing it again. Oh my God, she sells outlining in this one too. Babes, I bought your workbook. Stop. Stop it. I'm outlining, damn it. And I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but the reason I'm using a notepad is because she mentioned quite a few times that she personally, when she outlined, liked to do it on like a physical piece of paper. It made it where you couldn't retract statements or edit, you know? So here we are, not retracting or editing, just looking and feeling a mess. Let's go. Section 1, premise. I got 6 pages of notes. It's like 9:50, so it took me 50 minutes to do just the first section. Now we're on the second section. I'm going to do this next section. It is 20 pages. It is probably going to be the biggest section that I'm doing, but hi, how are ya? If I don't finish it in an hour, aka by like 11 when I'm trying to get ready for bed, I will continue it mañana. AKA not today. Let me get writing on this. God, I feel so drained and so tired from doing these 6 pages by hand. Like I have not written this much by hand in a long time. Like I think my last journal entry I did, like for my own purposes, like diary entry, whatever, was like in April. Okay, it's officially 10:45. AKA, it's taken me like 45 minutes to do these 20 pages. That's about the breakdown of how far I've gotten in 2 hours. I'm gonna go to bed. Good morning. Okay, it's definitely not morning, it's like 1:44. Anyway, hi, how are ya? It's officially Sunday, and that means that it is officially time to resume outlining our novel, according to K.M. Weiland. Everything's a lot happier, everything's watered. I've been enjoying some like just cafefe and listening to In Watermelon Sugar by Richard Brautigan. It's the book that inspired Harry Styles' Watermelon Sugar, that song, so yeah, it's interesting. Back to outlining. We are on character sketches, and the first kind of character sketch is backstory. Yay! So nothing goes with character sketches backstories like laying out the inciting and the key events. So now it's time to get back into it. Woo! Part 3 is officially done. Now I'm on to part 4, which is still character sketches, but it's like character interview. It took me 45 minutes, and that is entirely my fault. I was totally distracted, totally on my phone, just like not vibing with it, if that makes any sense. Part 3 only took like 2 pages, so like a page and another page. We're on to character interviews, and this is like a really big section because this is like all the interview questions. And it's just a lot. It's just nonstop questions about your character. Now, I mentioned this yesterday, I think, but I have never really done character interviews, and some of these questions, to me, seem really kind of silly. Like, what's their current address and phone number? I don't know their phone number. You kidding? I'm not gonna dial them up. Some of them make sense, like who do they live with, who are they fighting with, you know, at the beginning of the book, who do they spend time with? That makes sense. This is something I didn't realize people actually did, like when I picked up writing, seriously picked up writing a year and a half ago, and that is that people will actually do like interviews with their characters. I didn't know people actually did that. I mean, I feel like my characters, especially in Feathers and Ashes, are well developed. I feel like they're good enough, strong enough, whatever you want to call it, to exist and feel real, feel tangible, to remind people of people they may know. But I've never sat down and done a character interview, so I am so curious about this. I think this is a really good exercise for books that are more character driven. For example, like this one, Little Fantasy, is really character driven. Melancholy was really character driven. So I'm gonna get on it. But that last section took me 45 minutes, and if I was actually focusing, it should have just taken me about 20 minutes. Yeah, so to say I'm distracted is like being nice about it. Also, I looked at the weather and it's like, you know, nearing the end of October. It's gonna be 91 tomorrow. Why? There's some questions in here in this interview that I wouldn't have thought to ask, such as, does the character like himself? Is the character lying to himself about something? I think that's so fascinating. Also, degrees of self-awareness. Love that question. I am just tired. God, I'm just tired of outlining like this. I think it's because I've never outlined like this, and I can definitely see how she could stretch this out to be months. I can definitely see, because doing this all within like a 24-hour time period is a lot. I already decided, spoilers, that I'm not going to do the like freehand interview. I'm just kind of over it. I'm just ready to start outlining. Minor complaint, this came out in 2014. The protagonist is assumed at every single question to be a he. It's a little biased because yes, Weiland here, the 2 books that she cites throughout this book are like, both have male protagonists, but it's so annoying that it's all, how does he see himself accomplishing these dreams? Not how do they see themselves accomplishing this dream? Just because they has just become so like gender neutral, and oh, I would like that so much better than it being like, how does he? And I'm just like, I don't have any stories that have a he main character. Excuse you. Cheers. Let's keep writing. I feel like I'm so close to being done with this, and I'm like just now at the halfway point. I am officially done with the character interview section, and oh my god, I skipped over so many sections in this, or I like simplified it to a sentence and just included it on the interview. There were a few sections that I felt should have gone into like the character sketches section prior, such as like the minor characters section at the very end of it, just because it felt like it would fit in better with that section than with like the character interview section. We've got 3 more sections. We've got 5, 6, and 7 left. And this one is setting, so I don't think it's gonna be that much of a like setting, because it's set in like a generic medium-sized town, kind of mostly downtown. And the setting's done. It was half a page. Because it's like, oh, world building. And I imagine world building would be great if I wasn't doing light fantasy. Oh, that's just set in like our current world. Anyway, we are on to the extended outline. I'm gonna read through this and I will let you know if I do it or if I say, meh, Save the Cat does it better. So, I'm officially doing the section 6 extended outline because it's not really an outline section. Not how I define outlining a story. It's literally stuff that people suggest in like the No Plot, No Problem, Write a Novel in 30 Days book, and any generic like writing advice book. And then it dabbles in story structure. I'm gonna try it, see if I enjoy it. So I'm on the story structure portion of the extended outline, and my jimmies are a little rustled. It says, for more information, see Structuring Your Novel, Essential Keys for Writing an Outstanding Story. Hot take. If you have a workbook, all the edumacation material should be in the corresponding book. I will admit, I do really like the questions that kind of flesh out Act 1. That it's made me confident enough that I can read this and go, oh yes, I see what I need to do. Oh. But Act 2 isn't as clear cut. Act 2 is like pretty small. It's like this page and then it's a little bit of this. And it's talking about like pinch points and stuff. And if you don't have the Structuring Your Novel whatever that she put out, it would just be confusing, especially as a first-time outliner or a first-time writer. So yeah, it's not fun when Act 2 is so kind of lackadaisical, very, oh, guess you gotta buy my third book to make it work. Okay, I'm gonna Google some phrases and get my life together. So Weiland, I forgot, has a blog on her website and she talks about pinch points. So now I know exactly what she means by pinch points without having to buy the book, which is good, but it's not ideal. Outline is officially done. It is 2 full pages and it's solid. I really was afraid that I was gonna have to go get Save the Cat Writes a Novel to fill in all these plot points. I'm still gonna review the beat structure for Save the Cat, and I'm gonna compare it to the outline I was able to produce with the workbook, not the actual book, keep in mind. I think this outline's really solid. It really helped me kind of narrow down and organize the scenes that I'd come up with last night. I like it. I think it's a good story. Definitely the most thorough outline I've ever done. For the purposes of this blog, my outline is done. It took me this many pages, so it's about 10-ish pages or so. I'm still super salty that she tells you to go buy a different book of hers after buying these 2 books. I officially have my Nano project outlined. The ending is a little meh, which is totally fine with me because I don't think I'll get to the ending of this book in November. I might, but I don't think I will. I've specifically outlined my NaNoWriMo project for 2021. That is insane. I did it in 24 hours, so I'm pretty proud of that. There are some elements where I know I can go a lot harder, I can go a lot deeper with them. I enjoyed outlining by hand. I thought that was a very hot take for me. It was definitely a new experience. Don't know if it helped my book. I can already tell you that I need to revisit like the character want, character need, character goals. Didn't ever write down the theme, which is really interesting because she talks about it like 3 times and it's not in the workbook like at all. Thank y'all so much for watching. Thank you so much for liking, commenting, subscribing. It means so much to me. I'm really excited for this Nano. I know last year going into Nano, I did my outline based on like Save the Cat, and it was really difficult getting through Act 2. This kind of breaks down Act 2 into thirds instead of it being like halved from Save the Cat. I produced a decent outline, but it wasn't because of one of these books by themselves. Actually, I can tell you, I would have had a very difficult time actually outlining a book if I had used just one of these books. That's my finding, that's the vlog, and as always, let's get writing. Bye!